Britt Baker and MJF are two of us biggest homegrown stars, but the two stars were recently involved in a backstage situation that resulted in the company having to discipline Baker for her alleged action. And in this video, I'm going to give you absolutely the latest details on this situation, why it happened, what it led to, and much more. Because since returning at Double or Nothing, MJF has been the main focus on U television and in storylines. Downs him just laying in bloody up. I don't know why I'm doing Vince Man voice, and so then he goes into a feud with Will Ospreay, winning the international title from Ospreay on a recent episode of Dynamite. They'll run that back at All In for Britt Baker. Well, she was also someone that was on the sidelines. MJF, he was on the sidelines since World End in December due to injuries. Right, he had to drop the World We title. Baker, she missed a ton of time in 2023 and 2024 due to injury, and then obviously she had her very serious medical situation, so she returned at the Forbidden Door pay-per-view event where she confronted the CEO Mercedes Moné, and no, she did not do her entrance song of CEO CEF. That didn't happen. But the two have been feuding as of late and are now slated to meet at Allen later this month, where Moné will put the TBS T1 from Dave Meltzer. Uncle Dave reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that Baker was suspended for either 1 or 2 weeks and fined by the company's disciplinary committee. This is what Meltzer had to write. He said details have been kept pretty quiet. It came from something backstage at the July 17th episode of Dynamite, where Baker had allegedly said something about MJF and Alicia T. MJF's girlfriend heard about it and told him. MJF confronted Baker. This led to an investigation. Meltzer also stated that most of the people we spoke with were sympathetic to her in this scenario. End quote. Now keep in mind that I handled this situation due to previous situations that weren't addressed, and I put together a committee to settle these situations quickly. Now Fightful SED reports, and this is where things get really juicy. They report that the word internally was Baker expressed frustration about MJF within the women's locker room, and talent was she was in the locker room, so of course she went to her boyfriend and told him about it. This led to MJF going to Baker. This is what they had to say. While detailer said he said she said at this point they were told that there were confrontations between On and Baker in addition to MJF and Baker. Now Will Ospreay, he went to Baker at one point and tried to talk to her. The word is Baker took issue with a T telling MJF about what was said in the locker room. Now keep in mind that there's even more to this story, because Baker and MJF, well, they were close friends at one point, but it falling out at sometime in 2023 they got involved in the situation several weeks ago. Baker has since appeared on AEW television since, but was legitimately suspended by All Elite Wrestling. Y'all, you can't get more interesting than this story. When this thing popped up on the newsletter, I was like, wait, is this a shoot, or is this like, did I miss something? How did I miss a suspension angle? Right, and then it was like, oh no, this is real, and then all the tweets start coming out and everything like that. And I will say this, look, Uncle Dave Meltzer has been doing this for decades, right, but I would say that Fightful Select is the premier source for inside pro wrestling news. I really would. PW Insider, they're fantastic as well. The problem with Dave, and I think people call him out on this for a lot of the right reasons, for the most part he does tend to throw in a lot of opinion and guessing into what he says in his newsletters and especially on the radio, and as someone who is, you have to be extraordinarily careful in what you write when you are recapping whatever he posted or whatever he said. You have to make it very clear, to the point where I go out of my way and I just directly quote what he said or what he wrote, because I don't want it to be somehow taken out of context. That's my Dave Meltzer rant. But when it comes to Britt Baker, MJF, and Alicia Atout, I think all three are extraordinarily talented. I believe Britt Baker has the ability to go down as one of the best female talents to never wrestle in WWE. I'm not sure whether she'll ever go to WWE anymore. She was or is believed to be in a relationship with Adam Cole, but it doesn't appear like they are now. Cole mentioned on his Twitch that he was looking forward to doing more streaming on that service once he's moved from Florida back to Pennsylvania, and he was moving so alone, indicating that he wasn't with Britt. They have yet to confirm that. Regardless, I think MJF, if he wants to try to be known as one of the greatest to ever do it, I think he needs to go to WWE, and I think he has a real shot. If so, obviously that's not going to happen anytime soon because he signed with. After Chad Gable launched another attack on Otis and was standing in front of Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six/new member Maxine Dupree, the Wyatt Six answered the call and came to the ring. But the huge new distinction in this segment is that we got to see the totally unmasked looks of the Wyatt Six members Joe Gacy, Eric Rowan, and Dexter Lumis. They all marched up to the ring apron, and once there, they all took their masks off, and they drew a great reaction from the audience. Gacy and Rowan look extremely familiar to their prior features, but Dexter Lumis has the most radical change in appearance of the three. Dexter Lumis now has long hair, a full beard, and an X written on the forehead. This week's VHS tape focused on Dexter Lumis as well. Howdy asks Dexter what people should do when buzzards start circling, and Dexter responds with a classic term in the Wyatt universe: run. Returning to the unmasking sequence, the Wyatts enter the ring and provide a brief sample of their new ring style. They performed some incredible moves on the Creed brothers, which amazed the audience. Even Nikki Cross made an appearance, jumping off the top rope to land on Chad Gable. Gable eventually made his way up the ramp, abandoning the Creed brothers and selfishly only looking out for himself. But he ends up bumping into Uncle Howdy on the top of the ramp, and Howdy was in his full attire with his coat and hat. Chad Gable had to run off to the side to get away from Uncle Howdy. The names of the Wyatt Six characters are also an essential aspect of this part. When Nikki Cross jumped from the top rope during his part, Michael Cole officially referred to her as Sister Abigail. And that was a quiet part of the tale that they were building up for long, because every time Nikki brought over one of the VHS movies, Michael Cole acted as if he had never seen this woman in his life and had never referred to her as Nikki Cross. But now Michael Cole is formally naming her as Sister Abigail, and when commentators mention anything like that, it's typically because they were told to, and it's an important part of the story. Longtime Wyatt fans know that this is a moment that everyone has been waiting on for a while. For more than 10 years. There has been chatter and discussion regarding Bray Wyatt's sister Abigail becoming a physical character on WWE television. There have been several close calls, such with when WWE originally planned to have Bray Wyatt portray Sister Abigail personally, but that was nixed. And then when Alexa Bliss made her appearance into the Wyatt universe, people thought she may inherit the Sister Abigail position, but that turned out to be incorrect also. But it looks like we finally have Sister Abigail on WWE television after all this time, and that honor will go to Nikki Cross. There are still many mysteries regarding how the personalities function for Wyatt's 6 members. Is her entire past as Nikki Cross completely wiped now, and she's truly Sister Abigail? Or is Abigail more of an alter ego for her, similar to how Bo Dallas goes back and forth with Uncle Howdy? That's a pretty huge question, which they'll hopefully answer in the following weeks. But all that's verified for now is that Nikki Cross is legitimately portraying Sister Abigail. We also saw a backstage segment with Chad Gable and Adam Pearce, and there was some additional fun about Chad Gable stating that he found the rest of the Wyatt's identities on his own when they actually unmasked themselves in front of him. In contrast to the recent Nikki Cross, Sister Abigail personality makeover, Chad Gable referred to the Wyatts as Joe Gacy, Eric Rowan, and Dexter Lumis. Adam Pearce acknowledged those former names and stated that they are all under contract. So, again, we'll have to see if this means those 3 will have their original WWE names, or if they'll acquire new personalities too. But Adam Pearce makes it official that Gacy, Rowan, and Lumis will face Chad Gable and the Creed brothers on Raw next week in a 6-man tag team bout. So that's a very exciting matchup. And random 6-man tag team matches usually aren't the most thrilling matchups in the world to look forward to. But in this case it is something to greatly look forward to. It has several weeks of build-up and backstory to the matchup, and it's the official debut match of the Wyatt Six. We get to see those 3 individuals in the ring at the same time to see how their chemistry with each other is, and we'll also have a chance to see Uncle Howdy and Sister Abigail become involved as well, maybe in the middle of the bout or after the match, and perhaps at the next premium live event. Weekend Howdy vs. Gable. Some fans thought there was a chance that match would make it to the SummerSlam program, especially given the great history the Wyatts have had at the SummerSlam event, but the card was already jammed up, so hoping Uncle Howdy vs. Chad Gable is still on its way. Another mini-story featuring Wyatt Six was developing on social media, which had some followers discussing. Dakota Kai took to her Instagram page to pose backstage at Raw just like he usually does every week. But fans quickly noticed that in one of the photographs, the Wyatt Six logo could be silently seen in the upper left-hand corner. So the fact that she posted this picture with the Wyatt logo sparked some controversy. Was it a coincidence that Dakota Kai opted to pose there and the logo appeared in the picture? Or was it more purposeful to suggest to something coming up for Dakota Kai and the Wyatt Six? At this moment, who knows? It can certainly go either way, but for the time being, it appears that it was merely a coincidence. But maybe it'll be worth it to keep an eye on Dakota Kai over the following few months just in case.